Alright, okay, hello again everybody, it's only me, Woosha Richard, with another video here, okay? I want to say hello to everybody again, thanks for joining me. In this video I'm going to talk about a deep subject, so I think we'll just get on to it, okay? It's another talk video. I know I talk a lot, but you know, I believe in communication between people, you know, and for a better world, you know. I believe that the mind is what drives every human being, right? The mind, the heart, if you want to go to that, you know, say it that way, the soul, you know, spirit, but it's the mind, you know, what guides people. Behind every action there is a mind, right? Even if you want to call someone's mind unstable or on certain levels or whatever, you know, there's people who are accused of being like psychologically ill, you know, or whatever it might be, and there's other people who are regarded as geniuses, you know. But then again, in what situations and what cultures and, you know, centuries are we in? Oh, let me just say one more thing, okay? Great Scott! Yeah, apparently today, and that's good actually, I'm saying it in this video, it was either today or tomorrow, I think it's actually today though, it's night time here in China. I'm ready for bed. I'm yawning already. I need my bed really. I'm working so hard, you know, as a teacher, you know, my job. But as I say, Demsley brought it to light for me that it's actually Back to the Future Day, right? Back to the Future. Wow, I love those three. You know, the trilogy, Back to the Future, legendary stuff. Really was great. And apparently it's Back to the Future Day because it was supposed to be this very day that they arrived in the future, you know, and it's totally different to what people imagined it back then. That would be, you know, yeah, it's amazing. Anyway, another film I do like is I've always loved is The Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I just love that film. That was awesome. Anyway, let's get on to this now. Okay, I'm going to get onto this topic now. Okay, Back to the Future was epic. It will always be awesome. Well, we're going to get onto this topic in this video now, okay? Yeah, this, excuse me, I'm okay. With a bad throat recently. But basically, yeah, right, so in this video I'm going to talk to you about a deep topic. And the topic is actually something that's going to be ongoing. It's one of those things. We're really dealing with the mind. I mean, psychology. You know, I love all that philosophy. I love, you know, different kinds of philosophy and then psychology. But sometimes the way the word philosophy is used is used differently. You know, it's like the same as you come up with, like, when you use like the word of artistry, for example, artistic, like, you know, martial art, for example. Art can mean skill or ability, but art can also be like artistic, showy, something, you know. And philosophy is the same kind of thing. Being philosophical or having a, you know, philosophy about things. You could say that someone is being very philosophical in the way they're speaking and like kind of like artistic with their words, you could say, you know, and they're just like speaking hypothetically, or like mind, like the imagination, they're not being realistic. It's like philosophically things work but not realistic, but realistically. But the thing is, like, philosophy, I love, when I talk about philosophy, I'm talking about not just having an idea that works in theory. I'm talking about you should always be trying to connect and study and learn more and try and bridge any gaps between the mind and reality, right? You have to do that. Otherwise, you know, what do you expect life to be? But you know, there's so many deep subjects we could get onto. I mean, I've talked before. I've got very deep before in other videos too about things like my beliefs and stuff. I don't have any religion as such, but it's like anything to do with like the universe and all of that space-time, the meaning of life, and what life is, and what is reality, and illusions, and all this. It's like I will do more videos too, but I've gone really deep before, just in terms of my beliefs. But they're not so-called beliefs. They're just my thoughts in development constantly. Okay, be it they will useful to me, but be it they will useless to the whole everything as such. And when I say be it what they will useful to whatever level to me, I speak for the entire human race, because I believe if it is, you know, that's what it should be. You should be, from your positive actions, of course. You know, it's like you gain, you should be gaining for the whole world in a way. You know, it's like the father, the man who goes out to work and he gains, he earns for his whole family. You know what I mean? It's the same for the whole world, I think, right? You gain knowledge, you share it, you use it, you become a more able person for the world, right? But not for this fake ass society. Don't get me started again. You know what I'm saying? You know, reality and nature. It just so happens that, you know, one person can't beat a million, one person can't beat a whole army, you know, the whole world. So when we've got so many different laws and you know, and the way the world's governed by human beings and greed and all of that, that's when it becomes very hard. But nevertheless, it takes individuals, and it takes individuals, groups, or whatever. You've just got to stand up and make whatever you will within this situation, within the situation, or on the bigger scale, eventually turning around the whole situation for the better. You know, if one side gives up, it's only when you give up that's when everything stops. That's it. If you focus and don't give up and you focus, then there's always a chance for something, you know. Same with communication or taking steps towards anything. So I'm getting deep now. I'm getting like deeper than deep in this talk, and I haven't even started yet. So what is the topic then, Rich? What are you talking about in your effing British accent? I know. I'm going to get on to the point now. Okay, basically in this video, we're going to do a basic like introduction to the thing. Let's talk. So I can go to this topic. I can go from many different angles and go into this thing from many different things. A moment ago I was going to go from another angle, but I didn't. I forgot what I was going to say anyway. But here's the thing. Right, a moment ago I watched a documentary. I watched a documentary online. You know, I love to watch all kinds of documentaries. I find them very interesting and fascinating. And the documentary was something that I can kind of relate to, and it's a documentary that I've seen before too. And before I even watched the documentary, I watched another video which I've also seen before, which was another little short video, which was a part of a documentary, similar thing. But anyway, this one documentary I saw, okay, it was an episode of a Lockup. You know, the prison. It was about prisons in America, right? It doesn't matter where, but it was in America. It was prisons, like a Lockup. It's a series that's like a documentary series that they, you know, they show the world inside prisons and jails, you know, like really the most maximum security, dangerous, you know, really high level, dangerous prisons, you know, where all the most dangerous criminals have been, are held, you know. Yeah, I watched this documentary, right? I watched this documentary again, and this particular one actually, while it's still fresh in my mind, you know, I thought I might as well make this video now. I was planning to like, I need to get an early night tonight, I need to get some sleep because I'm going to be busy tomorrow with work and the day after too, but I thought, you know what, I've got this moment here, I'll just make a video, you know, now while it's fresh in my mind. I put a link on my Facebook page, okay, Richard Clark Ninja. Okay, I left a link. I left that a link to this particular documentary that I saw, and I've advised people to watch it if you get time. I think it must be around 40-45 minutes or something. Watch it if you get a chance. It's a very good episode. It's not just your everyday average episode. It's a very interesting one, and I'm going to go into a few levels now. So a few points now. So of levels and levels of points. But if you've seen that documentary before watching this video, then you'll be able to relate better to what I'm saying, what I'm about to say. Okay. So if you like, you can stop this video now and come back to the point of time. Okay, check the time now, and you could stop this and go to watch the documentary first, and then come back to this video. Or if you've already seen it, well done. If you haven't seen it, don't worry, you can still listen and try and follow. But I advise watching it. There's a documentary, okay, Lock Up. It's an episode of Lock Up, and it's called I think it's called what's it called? Prey, the Prey and the Hunted, or I can't remember the Predator and Prey. Is it? Basically, it's talking about, you know, in prison what it's like. The life is, they're talking about, like, you get the predators and the prey, you know. Basically, you get the hunters and the hunted. You know, that's basically like you get the bullies and the not really tough guys in prison, and then you get the ones who are softer and that who are taken advantage of and bullied. So straight away, looking at me, sitting Richard again on the screen, you can see what I'm getting at, right? Because martial arts again, and spirit and martial arts, you know, it's like I've talked about this, you know. I've talked about a bit about bullying and that before, and I go on to different topics because I've been bullied. As you know, when I was young, I was bullied, as I say, in school. I've been timid. I don't want to say timid, but I've been like taken advantage of a lot of my life. But in this video, I'm going to go into the depths of fear and the depths of psychology. I'll put it that way, and reality. Hold on one second while I check that phone. I just got a damn message on my phone, y'all. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. I'm very, very sorry. That's a call on my phone there. Hold on one moment. Our video is more important, so I'll talk to you. I'll check that after. It's just stuff to do with my school and my job, okay? But anyway, I'm talking to you on this. Okay, guys. Basically, it's like this. So yeah. Anyway, so first of all, right, I'm just going to give you an outline of some of the things I saw within the show, and then I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking, right? And it's deep, and we're going to have to go on to another video and talk more in depth about this kind of stuff. But I will, okay? And I'm going to go into all kinds of different areas too in other videos, and keep the talks going in different chat videos, you know. But first of all, then here's the thing, right? I watched this episode, and in the episode they covered a few like main characters, real people, you know. They followed different people. There were two different there was another documentary, a bit of one I was watching before that too. But anyway, we saw two guys who were new to the prison, not together. They were just like they were just people that were new. It was talking about people that are new in prison, you know. And it was like people that had never done any crimes before, but they were like young offenders, you know. They ended up being put into these dangerous prisons, you know. And they were like in general population for a while, and then later they'd go into what do you call it, segregated, whatever you call it, you know, confinement. You know, they'd be like alone for their own safety, because of like different incidents and stuff that happen. You get these like new prisoners that go into the prisons, and I've never been in prison myself, right? As such, I mean, into a prison of law, you know. But it's like but it was talking about people that, you know, go into prisons and that for the first time, and some people are like, for different reasons, whatever it might be, and they've definitely done something wrong, obviously, or, you know, something that they'll regret, but be it accident or on purpose, but they end up going to prison, and they end up getting picked on, you know. They end up getting bullied, and they end up getting, like, if they don't mix with the right people or prove that they're tough, prove that they're able to stand up, and this or that, and it can be like physical a lot of times, you know, and then they become a target, an easy target, and then they go through a lot, and it can be very, I would guess, traumatising. I can't imagine the nightmare. It must be terrible, you know. They must go through a lot of fear, these people. We go in there, though, and they just fit into that life, and it must be so terrifying. And then they go into these new prisons, and that make try to communicate with their new cellmates and stuff. Oh my God, can you imagine it? I can't. If anyone out there, okay, if you've ever had any experiences in like going to prison or anything like that, or you know anyone who has, feel free to share anything if you'd like to, talk about just your feelings about what it was like, or what your thoughts are of prisons. Plus, are they right or wrong, or what do you think? Are they good for people, or what about the experiences you may have had? But anyway, for me, I can't imagine it. Okay, I think they are cruel, but it's like a lot of human beings are out of control. So let's go on to what I was saying. So anyway, the documentary followed a bit about those people, and then there were visitors coming in and stuff, and the prisoners were happy when their mums or their loved ones would come to visit them and stuff, and they were talking about the home life and stuff. Some of these people get taken advantage of in prison, and they get an extortion and that, they're bullied into getting money from the outside, from their parents or whatever, for different things, for their own safety in the prisons. It's like everyone's, it's like has to have someone's back, and it must be so terrifying though, one wrong move and then you're ganged up upon and people get this and that. It's just awful. Anyway, that's that, right? So that was the first thing I'm saying, right? So it was covering new prisoners in the prison, right? Who are not up to defending themselves, but they're not tough like the seasoned veterans or the people that have been in there, the tough guys, the gangbangers and the groups in there, Anyway, what happened, then there was also talking about some of the criminals themselves, some of the most wildest, criminals, and they were also talking about the new, what do you call it, correctional officers, or the officers that, the guards, the people, the prison warders, the people that work in the prisons, and there was, a prison warden, a guy who was new, a younger guy, new on the job. Yeah. Excuse me, he looked nervous, and he was nervous, and he did look a bit nervous because he was new on it, He was trying to enforce his own authority. It was really hard to deal with all those criminals in there. They were all taking the piss, and the criminals themselves were even talking on camera. They were saying that if they see any weak-looking new guards or anything, correctional officers, right, COs, whatever they call it, they said that they take advantage of that. They see if you're a weak target, they just take the piss, and they just don't regard you as anything. They'll just take advantage. So, there's even been attacks on guards and things like that. Anyways, So, it's just that's, so I can see it from that point of view. Again, so it's a similar kind of thing where being a vulnerable, if you're a quiet kind of person, if you're not up to it, I wouldn't be up to it, nowhere near it. As a guard in the prison too, they also can be targeted for weakness by these tough criminal inmates, So we're talking about a prison situation, right? But we're free in the world of that. Most people, normal people who are free and they're not criminals, on the outside world. But we're just putting human beings in this environment. It's like prisons, It's like, anyway, going on to what I was saying though, and continuing what else was on the show. I saw there was actually some gangbanger. He was a leader of a gang or something. On the outside, he was very highly respected within the prison too, and he was a very tough guy. This big tough guy. And basically, he'd killed someone apparently on the outside, and it was obviously the person he killed was obviously someone's son. And the day came where he was going to be confronted, as one of those kind of things, he was going to be confronted by the parents, or the mother. It was the mother and someone else, the mother and the widow of the man who he killed, who shot apparently, over a drug deal or something, which is pathetic, right? As I see it, I'm just saying anyway. But the mother was getting tearful. She couldn't control it, but they had to meet over a table and just have a quick chat, and the mother prepared a letter and everything. And the mother was very emotional, but she handled herself very well. She controlled herself well. She spoke very, very well. She composed herself very well. He was sitting there, the guy, the killer, the leader, this tough guy, and he's a leader of the gangs and everything. But he looked so nervous for the first time, and he had to be smart. He wore a shirt and that, and clothes. He was there, and he was really, really nervous. he said he was nervous. He was thinking, what is he going to say? You could see he was like babbling that. He was like, before he even met her, he was like talking on camera saying, today is the day of that, you know, and he was saying, oh, I've got to meet, he's got to be confronted by his victim, you know, mother and widow, you know. Basically, and then he was saying that he didn't know what he was going to say. Like, you know, if they asked why, you know, why he did it, he said that's the biggest question. So he just don't know how to answer. But it's like he lives that life, you know. And it was so funny because moments before, like you saw other clips on the show, and he was talking about to the correctional officer. He was actually the gang leader. He was actually talking in the prison too. He was saying that he refuses to live a life as a deadbeat man. Basically, his life is all about stealing. You know, why pay when you can get something for free? That's what his life. That's what his life he lives by. And it was probably the tough life that he was into. And that, I don't know why people. My personal views, right? I come from a different background, fair enough. But it's like I can't understand people that do go into life of crime. I can't understand anyone who goes into gang life or anyone who takes up things like anything that's obviously bad for you, like addictions and things, anyone who smokes, drinks or takes drugs or gets into that, or any kind of crime of any kind, gang banging and that, I'll put it that way, you know, anyone who takes a negative path or of violence or of robbing people or killing people or raping, I just can't understand it really. And I've got my own views for that. Now we know that society and the government and that is always often blamed, and the parents and all the rest of it, and so many things in a young person's childhood growing up in the neighbourhood where they live and all that. I know that a lot of that is to blame. They feel that that's what's to blame, and the government and everything for like not giving jobs and things like that, and there's like they're poor and they're hard done by, and a lot of people feel, and different groups of people, I'll put it that way, and young people feel that they're, in England as well, but it's like a lot of them feel that they're being left out as such, you know. It can be different ethnic groups, and it can be young people too, but there are groups of people, human beings, that feel that they are discriminated against, and they're not they're not treated fairly, you know. And it's like, but you know, what do you do in countries when there's like so many people? It's like it's hard to, you know, you put 100, you know what I mean? It's like you got too many people on the bus, you know. It's going to be hard to get off or get on, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, hard to, well, in a crowded restaurant, you know. It's like there's only enough to go around, you know what I mean? It's like, so this is what happens, you know. It's like two wild animals fighting over one meal, you know what I mean, or anything in life. That's where it comes from, you know. It's survival. We understand that, but there's a difference between actual truth and illusion, and this is the problem. A lot of these people fall into illusion. I truly do believe it is illusion, and the reason it's illusion is because they can't see a way out of it, as in straight in front of you. But martial arts teaches you patience, that there is a way, maybe further out. Look at me, for example. I was having a tough life in England, but I come far away to China. But it's like, I'm not saying everyone can do that, but I'm saying there's different ways of different things. But anyway, that's a whole other situation. But I truly believe that you take a negative path on it, and that's what it is. And negativity could bring negativity back to you. You know, it's just the same thing. You know. Anyway. I could say a million different things. Like you chuck a ball at a wall, it comes back and hits you in the head. But I'm just saying, right, anyway. So let's continue what I was saying. Anyway, so the man, right, the killer, you know, the gang leader, he was there, and you could see he was emotional. He was trying not to, like, he wasn't crying outside, but you could see he was like thinking about it. He was like, it was hard for him. But what hurts me is when I see these criminals and people that, in some situations, the human does come out in them. They do have the emotion, they can relate to it. Oh, that could be like his mother, you know, or whatever. He's got a son as well, apparently. But it's like, you know, but then they go back to the life, and it's like, that's over with, and they go back to, it's like children in school, you know. when the teacher's telling them off, they're all quiet and nervous and that, and after that, they go back and everything's okay, that was yesterday, you know, and they go back to their old ways again. And it's like, because they don't know any other way, and they kind of feel big and tough about it, they get more and they go through so many of these situations that they have no respect for anyone in the end. Families, their own families, anyone else's families, old people, young people, women, whoever, fucking, you know, excuse my language, society, government, the law, police. In the end, they just really don't care, and they become more and more like, well, you know what, life's shitting me off, no one understands me from my point of view. What is, and you know, I just don't care. And that's, I guess, when you see people that do have these heartless, emotionless ways, you know, when you see people who are like totally, really like evil, you know, when you see people that are just like, on these documentaries sometimes who are so cold and they say, you know, don't you care that you killed that person? And the guy's like, no, I've got no feeling at all. And you think, oh my God, how can he be like that? But that's why, also because they've been through so long and they've been through so much. It's like, there's psychological issues. So I always talk about philosophy, right? And I always say I like philosophy more than psychology because I don't believe in, I mean, in terms of psychology and philosophy, to me are like the same thing. They should both be connected to reality. But it's like, the thing is like, psychology seems deeper, like philosophy. Psychology, the problem is it's like always related to like doctors and psychological doctors and psychiatrists, and that I don't believe to a total certain extent. That's the thing with that, because I don't believe anyone can read anyone's mind or say it's the mind. The mind is a very delicate, deep thing to study, and there are people that could probably help you or try to steer you on to a better path in life, but it's always you doing it. It's like you only buy what they say. I mean, they only can sell to you what you're willing to buy, you know, what you're buying from them. They'll only sell what they're giving you money for. It's like, they'll only, you can only feed them what they're eating. I mean, you can only show them what they will see, you know, I mean, what they're already seeing and such. It's like, I mean, so psychology though is like the mind, you know, the thing though, as I say, but it's like philosophy is the thing for me, and it's like the same thing really, but it's all the self and the mind. So go back to what I was saying though. There's obviously a lot of issues here. So anyway, the mother was really good, and the mother controlled herself. Right? The mother at the end, she did the thing, which was, I guess it was going to be this way kind of thing, but the mother said to the killer, the gang leader, she said, you know, no, he was talking, right? The man was talking, he said, I know I can't ask for your forgiveness and all this, you know, for what I've done wrong, and blah, 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 and this and that. But then she cut in, and she butted in, she said, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to cut you short there. The mother said, I forgive you 6 years ago. I said, she said she didn't forgive what he did. She said, but she forgave him as a human being. And she said, you know, she said, just think about your son, you know. And so that, you know, as a person, she was very understanding. You don't get many human beings like that. And it might be some powerful thing just to try and show a bit of power, but how many people can do that, you know? And I'm that kind of person that would be like that, totally forgiving of someone. I mean, it might sound really hard. How can you forgive? I wouldn't forgive someone for doing that. You know, someone killing your loved ones. I don't mean that. You know, someone, you know. But it's like, you know, I understand. It's not about forgiving or not forgiving or this or that. You know, believing, non-believing. We've gone over that before, like philosophically, right, and psychologically. There's language and different ways. But what I'm saying is like the truth is like the understanding of what is, and like. No human being is perfect in the mindset, and I've gone in tempers before and done things, and you know, not like that, but you know, we all get in tempers, you know, we all say the wrong things, sometimes act wrongly, you know, and it's like, well, you know, what is acceptable, what's not in different cultures, and but it's like, when you think of a human being, you know, a human being is this, it's not a perfect network, a system, it's not like a computer, it's like, either it's like, it's atoms, cells, blood, molecules, it's this organism, that's all we are really. So what do you expect? You expect it to be like totally perfect, you know what I mean? It's really ridiculous really, isn't it? These hairs growing from my arm here, for fuck's sake, you know. I'm a bit unashamed this morning, it's like, you know what I'm trying to say? Reality, you know, it's like, nothing's actually as perfectly immaculate, perfect, like, I like that word, immaculate, perfect, like, you know, computer matrix, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, I wouldn't put anything past a human being, but you get into different subjects. It gets really deep when you start talking about morality and what's really good and what's evil, and is it anything or is it nothing, and what's reality, you know what I mean? It's like Richard Dawkins, for example. Richard Dawkins talks about things like like, you know, the meaning of life, when people talk about being spiritual and their different religions, and people start talking about saying, well, you know, you can't say that there's no meaning to life and while we're here. But Richard Dawkins is very plain and to the point, and he says things like, you know, well, really, he believes this totally, that there's really no meaning to life at all. Well, that's more likely. And he's, you know, he doesn't have a religion, neither do I. But it's like, you know, he doesn't believe that a God put us here or anything, or for any reason. He doesn't believe there's any reason to it. You know, what would the reason be? You know, he doesn't believe there's any plan to it. He doesn't believe there's anywhere to go after this life. So he believes that we're just here, you know, or we're just as organisms, you know, having orgasms. Even as organisms, he believes we're just here, like, you know, evolved creatures as we are, and you know, that's what he believes, right? And we're just here. And some people talk about like evolution, and they say, well, where's the evidence in this or that? You know, it's like, but so you can say that about anything, couldn't you? You can say, well, where's the evidence? Like, just because we don't have evidence, we don't believe in something. And like we're starting to believe that we think we know everything about the universe now. We're just starting to understand the universe. It makes me laugh, you know, when people start saying things like about the Big Bang, you know, when everything started, when the universe started, and the universe. Now, the universe might be like going on forever, right? And what do you class as the next, when you get to the end of the universe? Time and space. Then what's behind that? What's beyond that? This is what's so amazing about it, you know, time and space and all of that. And if you say that time and space get so twisted to different levels when you go smaller and smaller, or bigger and bigger, or further out, or whatever. There's so many interesting science, like documentaries and stuff like that online, you know, in space and that. But you know what I mean? It's like the nature of it all, you know. It's like, but it's like, what is it all? It's just absolutely unbelievable. It's amazing. We're lucky to be here on this planet. We feel like we're lucky. We feel that we're alive. We feel that there's meaning towards things and emotions and that, you know. But you know, it's the thing, you know. It's like what was before the Big Bang? And why are people so bothered about the Big Bang? Well, because we're here. You know? Well, what about before that? Though there was this big, whatever there was. This is another thing. Now, going back to what I'm saying though. And you say, like, it's amazing that we're all here, this universe is here. Well, it was amazing. It was amazing before that coming to be. It was whatever wasn't there, this void or whatever. It's amazing, wasn't it? To us, it seems. Obviously, of course, it will seem as deeper and deeper as the more I think as a human organism here. But it's like, being, you know, it's like, you know. If you don't think, it's nothing, is it? You know? But Richard Dawkins was actually talking about that, about morality, you know. And Richard Dawkins was talking about like what's right and wrong, what's kind and what's evil. We do have morals, obviously. We don't like to see other people hurt. We don't like, normal people don't. We have emotions and things. But it's like the true matter of the fact is there isn't any right or wrong. There isn't any way that it should or shouldn't be. We feel pain, so it's obviously wrong. And we have these emotions and things like when we see somebody else getting hurt, we feel bad because it reflects, you know, how we feel. It's like that's a special thing there, that we've got a connection between human beings. Things like love, you know, and feelings, and things like caring for others. It is special. It is like a magic. And we don't know totally what it is, but in some way it could be just the psychological, in the scientific way, the mindset of the mindset. I mean, the atoms and the fucking cells in your brain are just working off each other, giving you the illusion that things are happening, you know, in the world. But the thing is, really, you're just this thing. We're just this thing. You know what I mean? To someone who was like born with problems, let's say, in their body, let's say, with different problems with their senses or organs in their body, then life would be a slightly different experience. And we're all different anyway, so we all do have slightly different experiences. I believe that we all sleep differently. Some people dream differently. You know what I mean? It's like, so, you know, going back to that, so it's really deep, you know what I'm saying? It's like the mind. When you start talking about psychology and doctors, I mean, that's another thing. You just, what is real and what the fuck do they know really? But we know ourselves more than anything. We're victims to our own habits and development. So going on what I was saying again, though, sorry to mumbo jumbo ramble here. It's night time. I need to sleep soon. But you know, to what I was saying again, though, you know, so right and wrong and things like that. So anyway, what's the thing at hand then? What we're talking about is like personality. This is the big thing. This is the actual whole point of this whole thing I'm talking about, right? I watched this documentary that was talking about people that are like soft or whatever in prison, and they go in and they get bullied, be it newcomers to the prison, be that new inmates, or it be the new correctional officers, guards, and then you got people also like the toughest gang members and bosses and stuff, gang leaders, and then the parents of these victims. You see strengths and weaknesses and hard and soft in all people in different situations, right? But it's all about survival. You see it on the inside of the prison, the way they carry on. When you ask people why has it got to be the way it's got to be, and they say, well, that's just the way it is in prison, And they say people get beat down, you have to like fight and prove yourself and all this, because it's just the way it is. It's the rules, it's the code, and all this. It's like this big tough ego kind of thing. But it's like, here's the thing that bothers me, right? It's like, it doesn't matter if it's in prison, if it's in schools, if it's in any tough situation. You get it in the army, you can get it in your job, you can get it in the outside world, in society, even in families. Competition between people. You see again, it's like, it doesn't matter really. It's just like, what I'm saying is like, it's the fact that people are so unstable. What bothers me, I tell you what bothers me, I'm speaking to you now, you're watching this video, I don't know who you are, let's say, anyone watching this video now. Like, things like I've mentioned before, like the film, the film The Purge, or The Purge 2, if you've ever seen it. But, I'm just saying things like that, when they talk about that, I know that if you're watching this video now, there's a chance that if there were no laws, or they stopped, if there were no laws for a day or so, or over a time even maybe, depending on the people, most people, a lot of normal people, lots of people out there in the world would start becoming violent or start stealing and things like that, and they'd become unruly, And that's savage, It's like, that really hurts me to think that you probably would. That's just, why the fuck would you do that, I wouldn't do that, But it's like, it's like when you talk about there's not enough to go around and things like this, you know what I mean? Or the strength and the weakness of people. There's no reason that you should steal from people or bully people. But what I'm trying to say is, right, it's like there's a way that we can be more positive and work better in the world to get more, I think, for ourselves, but live a comfortable life. Greed is the biggest problem. Again, wars and all that is terrible things also, they're terrible. But what I'm trying to say is, right, that's what hurts me, people who would turn out like that. And there's probably times where you've actually tried to take advantage of people yourself. I don't know if you have or not, or laughed at someone or tried to intimidate them so that you'd feel part of the team. See, people follow suit, people follow the crowd. They're not strong enough on their own, and they believe this, and there's no way they'd rather choose to be with the crowd, right? So if everyone around you was like gang-banging criminals or whatever, or so you feel that you're forced and you've got no other choice or option but to join them, rather than being so powerful and doing the opposite, doing something totally different, or being yourself. They follow like sheep, they follow like lemmings, That's just another thing. So now, talking again, like going on to the point myself, I've been a quiet person, as I say. I got bullied in school, I've been bullied a lot of my life. But why? And I'm going to go more on this. Why? Because I'm a quiet person. What's a quiet person? Now this is the whole subject we're going to begin now. What is fear? You've got fear, that's blind fear, and then you've got reality. It's not fear. It's like one person cannot beat so many people, right? One person can't literally physically fight off so many attackers necessarily, especially if they're not the biggest, toughest guy, and especially if they're not a martial arts, a real expert, But one person cannot beat off them, especially if they've got weapons as well, like knives or whatever, or guns. I'm just saying that, or bare hands. I was saying, it's like lots of people. One person cannot beat off. So, excuse my fucking phrases. One person cannot beat off my shit. No, one person can't beat so many people necessarily in a physical fight. I'll put it that way, right? without getting seriously injured and risking the chance of getting injured, killed, and you say that they're brave if they're not afraid to fight and face death or face that. If they run away or they keep quiet or they avoid it for any length of time, you say that that guy's a pussy and they deserve to be bullied, that person, right? So what I'm trying to say is, like, there's problems in the mind. People see weakness in people. They see things that are different to others around them. They see things that are to themselves. They see things in people that are just different things they can't understand, and they choose to bully them. And there are other people that go around and bully people because they feel that life is like, if you don't become the hunter, then you become the hunted. They really believe that other people, maybe even people that seem to be soft or nice, those people would bully you if you don't show them who's boss and you be the bully. And this is another illusion which is totally wrong. I would be totally respectful to anyone and treat them fairly, you know, whether they're big tough guy or there's some little skinny person weaker than me. I wouldn't take advantage of someone. I treat them all the same, because we're all human beings. But you know, it's not to try to earn respect or just because of this or that. It's not, you know what I mean? And I wouldn't bully someone, you know, and think that maybe they'll still bully me if I don't do that. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying again, right? But that's what happens in these prisons, and you get it on the outside world too. So you can see that these new inmates were having trouble. You can see that these the human beings were having. You can see that these guards were having, some of the new guards were having trouble. And you can see that. You can see the fear in some of these inmates sometimes. Like I said, that gang member, the leader who met the parents, and then the parent was like really strong in herself the way she did it, with patience. But it's like, what I'm trying to say though is, you know, is like, what I'm trying to say is like, what is fear? What is it? It's not as simple as that. You say someone's afraid. Literally, you've got to have the reason. It's like, if you haven't got the money to pay off for something, then you're going to be nervous, aren't you? If you don't have two arms and a legs, or if you don't have a gun, you know, how are you going to fight off that lion who's about to eat you? You know, it's like literally, you've got to actually literally have something to back up your confidence. That's how I say it as. Otherwise, why are you confident? You're just an idiot, you know. Where you go now? It's like, you've got to have some kind of power, some kind of efficient power, something that's going to help you get the job done. The right tools, alright. And if you're alone, it can be hard as well in the woods. So what I'm trying to say is, this is the thing. So it's how we treat others, how we think about life, and how we clarify in our mind, clear up, you know, what is moral or what is where do fears come from? What is our understanding of the world? Is it just that, you know, there's tough people and then there's weak people, and then the weak people just don't survive because it's like, that's totally wrong. But it's different weaknesses in all people. It's not weakness, it's like, it's just what you want, and it's about survival. And there's a lot of people in the world who turn to violence, sadly, or choose to be the way they are because they feel that they're constantly threatened or that their lives being robbed. But the way I see it is, you've never got nothing unless you are literally being threatened, that your existence is being threatened. Unless your existence, your very existence, your health, your life, unless that's being threatened, then nothing else should bother you anyway. And people shouldn't bother you, and there should be no reason to take a negative path. So it's a very deep subject. I can't get too much into this in this video, okay? But that's the whole start of the whole thing. And we'll talk about fear, you know, and who's weak or who's quiet and who's softer. Let me give you a very good example to finish this video off right. You get some of these real tough like fighters. They could be fighters, they could be gang members, gang bosses even. They could be powerful people, they could be really violent people for no fighting. They could be soldiers even of war. These people you'd respect for being strong, right? Showing their physical power. I mean, literally going in and getting into a fight and all the rest of it. You see people who have got stab wounds and gunshots with this and that and scars on their body. They show off all that, and they feel that they've been through the wars, and they show off that. But it's like, you wouldn't want to have to risk yourself for all that, would you? I think it's not a pussy. I don't see it as totally weakness. I see it as being wise to avoid negativity and avoid danger, because you could end up crippled or dead, you know what I mean, for the rest of your life. So it's like, what I'm saying is, like, people respect people for their power, for showing power, but at the same time, like these gangs and people like that. But at the same time, get this, at the same time, there are like religious groups and things like that in the world, or religious people, or like monks even, or very spiritual people, or like very quiet, calm, peaceful Zen Buddhist monks, or people, you know, for example, old people who are really respected, or even some of these other people that, you know, lead certain cultures into wars and stuff, or not lead, but they're higher figures in certain, you know, religious culture, everything like that. It's spiritual, and it's like these people stand for some kind of belief was connected, or they inspire people to be better fighters. It could be someone who's spiritual who might inspire you to be a better boxer, or better at your job, or be a stronger soldier, or whatever it might be. Even criminals, even gangbangers. There's some of these people who they respect. Some of these old people who are like so quiet, and they're like skinny little people. But they're wise from their mind. They're really wise, and they're or might be religious maybe, but they're very spiritual and wise, quiet little people. And these people have not done any fighting. Some of these people have never actually put themselves in danger or lived that kind of life or been through it. But there's something about them, and the wisdom and the power that they seem to have. Some people have had power in their younger days and been through violent lives, but some of them haven't as such, when they're born into a family thing or something, or there's some other reason, some connection. It's gone down generation after generation through people. So people just following blindly like lemmings, and not only following, but they're following something that's supposedly linked to something else, and the message and word has gone through from person to person, or people to people, and people don't even know what they're following. So I wouldn't pass human beings. It's like they're all emotionally or also mentally unstable to a certain degree anyway. So when you talk about fear and all this, or some people are quiet, or some people are nice, or some people come across this or that, and then they're easy targets, you know, when you're dealing with bullies, you're dealing with people who are totally fearful inside themselves too. They believe they've got to be tough, so that they get respected by everybody else around them who also thinks the same way. They've got to bully someone and make it seem like, you know, they're not the weakest one in there, and they've got to put you down because otherwise you're bullying them. That's what they see it. So all these illusions, and the thing is, negativity is the wrong way, totally. Anything negative will mess you up more, right? Be it a life of crime, taking drugs, be it joining gangs, being violent things, you giving yourself pressure, having to be part of a group, having to follow rules, becoming part of laws that human beings make up, ways of thinking anyway, and then believing you're like a slave to any society or government or this or that, you've been robbed of a better life, and the grass is always green on the other side of the fence, you know, things like that. Who's got more money? There's so much that you can get confused with, and what's accepted in today's culture, or what's so and so said about you, or it's like people get so complicated they don't see the actual reality. All we are is blood, skin, blood, hair. This is all it is really. We're going to be dead one day, you know what I mean? Just like in our lives we should value what it really is about. But, you know, to be saying someone else is afraid, or someone comes across as soft or gentle, or someone is weak, an easy target, what the fuck does that mean? Or to say that someone else is like less of a able than you could be. I mean, someone might not even be the best fighter, but they might end up killing you when you're not looking to be a killer, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm just saying that's not the point. It's like, you'd be more wise to communicate. I think people, human beings, would be more wise to really be more positive and do good for the world and help each other out, to help ourselves out as well, you know. Go along with nature and do the right thing. That would work much better and be more in harmony. You know, it's like harmony. It's like, you know, laws and the governments, and this is the way it is, and there's greed and all that, and this is just the way it is, you know. So what is there to say about it? You know, there's not a lot really else to say about it in this particular video, but it gets you thinking, you know. It does get you thinking. So you know, when there's wars and stuff going on in the world, this, that and the other, you know, what can you do as one person? What power do you do? And how can you how much can you do in your life, you know? But I'm just going to finish this video. There's not a lot else to say, but think about that to yourself. It's like, why should someone have to prove themselves, you know, as such? to someone else who's only a human being like you. And what we only know, it's like Bruce Lee even said, right, again, you know, all knowledge is ultimately self-knowledge. So what you think you know about the world is only only your understanding or interpretation of what you think someone's saying or what you're seeing around you, and you know what I'm saying? So, but physical and real power is real. When these people really see money on the table, got more money than you, or when they really see, you know, that they're controlling other people to do, you know what I'm saying? It's like they see the reality of it, you see. But it's like, how far would you go? And the thing is, like, what is real wisdom? You know what I mean? Some of the most quiet people are the wisest, smartest people, and the most dangerous, because the wisest person could be the most dangerous person, don't forget. If you're wise, you'll work with nature rather than against it. You'll work with all people rather than against it. And if you're wise, I don't believe that you will have to, if you're so great, I don't believe that you would have to follow a group of losers who are only winning in the short term, but in the long term they're losing out big time, and this is robbing them of that. It's like today can rob you of years in your life, I'll put it that way, right? And that $1 or £1, $1 you've earned today could, you know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm trying to say? It might rob you of more time or more money from tomorrow. You know, you could earn much more than that through people, the life you choose. And people who say that they're born into these lives, or they're in these lives where they don't have a choice, and it's like because the government and because life around them and the situation and blah blah blah, and the way their parents treated them and the abuse they've been through and all this and that, you know, and addictions and all this. If a human being is not able to get more control or work towards, or want to work towards even at least, and try, so even though it's hard, but work towards a better level of self-control in themselves, without backing down and giving up one day to the next. If that person doesn't want to do that, then there's really no hope for you. You can't say that, oh, you're going to call the psychologist in. Some of these psychiatrists end up like spending years and years or really long periods of time trying to help people get back into better mental states or whatever, you know, and they end up, things seem to be alright, and then the guy ends up committing suicide or something, you know, or killing someone, or possibly him or himself. So, you know, I wouldn't put anything past people, really. The state of the world today is unbelievable, but it just hurts me to think that there's a lot of nasty people out there, and it hurts me to think that if it was me, like if I was in a situation like that, when I was looking at this prison documentary, for example, it was like very, you know, when I was looking at it, I was thinking, well, it would be scary for anyone in there, but one person could not beat them all down. Can you imagine living in a situation like that, where you could get stabbed? Yeah. You're not a fool, I think, to be afraid of that. To want to avoid that, you know what I mean? Okay, I'll stop this video, yeah? Thank you very much for watching. More better videos to come, Train Arnold States. I'm going to talk more about that too, okay? But it's nowhere near as simple as people say that. Well, you know, because you're quiet in yourself, or you're nervous, or you're a timid person, you need to be more confident, you need to believe in yourself more and all that, stand up for yourself. That's a lot of old bullshit, excuse my language, at the end of the day, because even though there's people that are like that, too quiet and nervous, but it's like I am, I would be in a lot of situations, but it's like you've got to know what it is. If something's not like threatening your existence, or if something's not really affecting you, if you've got a choice to be able to avoid it, if you've got a choice to overcome it or do something better, and more so, if it's worth it, then you've got less reason to be nervous at all, right? But if you've got like something that's going to be really difficult to deal with, or you are just literally, you don't want to get into fights, or you don't want to, you know, so that, or get into a violent situation, then I think there's nothing wrong with you. That's very, very normal, I think. People may call you a coward, because in that culture or in that environment, you might have people that are just covered in battle scars, people that have got one arm, one leg, or, you know, have been in terrible fights and stuff, been shot or whatever, you know, people that have been living through lives of war practically, basically, you know. But at the end of the day, we're all born as babies, and there's nothing wrong with us really. We're pure and we're clean, so there's no reason to fuck yourself up, right? And there's no reason to put yourself in the presence of any danger. So I hope that's been a good video there, and I like to share. And you might say, well, who the hell am I, little chicken Richard, putting this message out? But we are in civilization, civilized society more so, right? The world, not everybody's a spaz, you know, we are on term, we've got civilization and society, or a people. We can all think more and try to make the world better. It doesn't help to just say the world's a mess, you know, and things like stop violence. You know, like I made my video, I made the other video, you know, please check it out guys if you haven't seen it. I made a video called Stop All Violence Now. It's right, it's good, but it's like, the term doesn't help, you know what I mean? The same as when you're talking to children and you say to a child, well, you're so stupid, you know, or you're so foolish, or that's wrong, that's a bad idea, or you can't do that, you know. It doesn't help them. You've got to give like points like examples and reason behind it. Like say that would be a better way to do things, or you can also do it this way. You know, give practical terminology. So that's what I'm trying to say. That's the same for all things in life and people. You know what I'm trying to say. So you know what I mean. Everything's been thought through thoroughly. Thought through thoroughly. It's hard to say. Yeah, you know what I mean though. Thought through thoroughly. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say. It's like there's more to it than just simply saying someone's a coward or someone's this or that. It doesn't make any sense, you know what I mean? Or be confident, it's like that. It's like there's a reason and there's a way of doing things much better. You know, efficiently too. And if you understand yourself, and you understand what you're going to do, and you know the best way to win and the best way to do that, then yeah. I'm going to stop this video, yeah? Thanks for watching. See you again soon, talk to you again soon. I'm just so tired. You can see I'm tired, right? I need to go to sleep now. It's nearly 11 o'clock. I'm going to go to bed at 11:30. Got teaching again tomorrow morning, classing tomorrow night, and the next day I've got to go to another college to have some kind of competition thing all day with other teachers, and it's just crazy, my life, you wouldn't believe it. Bow, y'all.